Hi, it's Christina with the Sisyphean Journal. I saw on Triggernometry a video entitled How to Stop Preventable Newborn Death, which, if you are concerned about live babies instead of dead babies, it seems like a definite topic to look at. So it's just Triggernometry, which means it's a conversation. You're not going to be missing any videos. So let's listen to this together.
Why are we not doing that? Yeah, it just blows your mind that we're not doing this. And the simple reason why we're not doing it is because it has very little sort of public awareness.
The story is that you're saying is basically
That was
we're
the
throwing
teaser.
a hell of a lot of money at a wide range of things because we want to deliver all things to all men. And here are 35 billion, 12 things you can focus on to actually make a big impact. So let's talk about that. What are the biggest things that we actually should be looking at, Bjørn?
One obvious thing is maternal and newborn health. One thing that surprised me was so many moms are still dying from childbirth. So about 300,000 moms die each and every year in this world, and they needn't do that in childbirth. 2.3 million kids die each and every year in the first 28 days in their life on Earth. That's just terrible, and again, totally unnecessary.
Wow. I'm eager to hear if he's going to give us something that we can sink our teeth into and really start implementing.
So much of this is because there's complications during birth and there's no materials to handle that. So the mom has preeclampsia or eclampsia, basically high blood pressure, and she bleeds out. We know how to fix that. We fix that routinely in the rich world. We should make sure moms get into institutional birth, give birth in institutions instead of just doing it at home, so that there is an opportunity to treat her if things go wrong. Likewise, and again, I didn't know this at all, so most kids that come out of mom just start breathing right away, about 80%. So 15% need a slap in the back to get going, and then they start breathing, and that's fine. But even in rich countries, about 5% of all kids just don't breathe. Wow. So you need to start giving, you need to push in air into their lungs, and then they go, and then they survive, right? So, and of course, we just do that in rich countries. It's not rocket science. You just need a simple hand pump. I mean, in rich countries, we have something more fancy because we can't have such easy things, right? But in the poor part of the world, you just often don't have this hand pump.
Neonatal ambu bag he's basically talking about.
Costs $65 for each of these hand pumps. It works for probably 3 years, and in that time you could probably save about 25 kids. $65, 25 kids life saved.
Doesn't seem like a lot.
Why are we not doing that? And again, the point here is not that, I don't want everybody to rush out.
Okay, I'm going to say something here. I think a lot of the reason we're not doing this is because it's not expensive. Lots of money does not go to big pharma, and the WHO and other public health agencies that are largely funded by people like Bill Gates, who invest heavily in pharmaceutical companies. They're not going to recommend things that don't put money in the pharmaceutical companies. So I'd say 90% of why we're not doing this, pharmaceutical companies. I've learned to hate them since the COVID started.
Out and do a GoFund just for this hand pump. It's about getting all of these things. So, for instance, disinfectants. Yeah, you'd imagine that's a good idea to have disinfectants on the surfaces in your hospital wing. But again, we don't. And so a lot of places do, but about a fifth don't. We should make sure that has it there. And so the point with this argument is...
So again, this is something cheap. A little bit of Clorox in water, a little bit of bleach in water, wipe it down, you're good. That does not give Big Pharma any money, does it?
Really just to tell people, if we focus more on maternal and newborn health.
Wait a minute. That might be the real reason that they're going so much for the chemical abortions instead of the surgical abortions is Big Pharma. It's a lot more money for them if she's taking those drugs and then bleeding a lot afterwards, so you have to give her medication for that. Yeah, I'm seeing Big Pharma under the bed.
That's by making sure that the women come in to institutional birth, so about 2/3 are doing it now. We want almost all in institutional birth. and that these institutions actually have midwives, that they have disinfectants, that they have this hand pump, these very, very simple things. World Health Organization has a whole list of this. If you did...
So the World Health Organization has a list. Why are they promoting expensive things that don't actually help people instead of these simple things that can save lives?
All of that, it would cost about $5 billion a year. So not nothing. But then you could save 166,000 moms each and every year. And you could save 1.2 million kids.
Another thing is these kids are probably mostly little brown and black kids, and the population control people really don't like there being so many little black and brown kids. They like kids with less melanin. They like little pink babies. Yep.
Each and every year. It's just, it just blows your mind that we're not doing this. And the simple reason why we're not doing it is because it has very little sort of public awareness. I don't know, have you guys ever seen this is the Monty Python skit with the machine that says pling?
No.
You have,
It's from Monty Python, The Meaning of Life.
The Meaning of Life. Oh God, you've got to say that. Anyway, so they're these doctors in an operating room or something, and they have all these machines, and they're all totally excited about the machines. And the manager of the hospital comes in. And let's show him the machine that says pling, which is apparently the most expensive machine in the hospital. So everybody's very excited about it. And then at one point, John Cleese goes,
still something missing, huh?
They're looking around an empty room.
Patient. Yes. Where's the patient? I don't think like patient.
They're so excited about these expensive machines that they
And at some point when they find the patient, they go, oh, here it is.
forget that this is about the woman. And, it's funny, and she gets just neglected all the time, and they want to emphasize the machine that says playing. Right? I mean, and obviously it's a character, and I'm not saying that all doctors are like that, but doctors probably rather would have an MRI scanner than they would one of those hand pumps, right? Because, it's fun to go to a conference and say, yes, we have this, this new MRI scanner, 2000 or whatever it's called, but, this hand pump, old stuff. But it's actually this hand pump that'll help save 25 kids.
Because in some ways, when you've got people sitting around a room in the UN and they're all very intelligent, they almost desire complex solutions because it's more grandiose, isn't it, than something as simple and as prosaic as a hand pump.
Yes. But it's not that they haven't promised also to fix this, right? Because they promise everything. But the point is that when you're promising everything, you have no direction. If you have 169 priorities, you have no priorities.
Right. Yeah.
And if you promise everything...
Oh, they have a priority. The priority is to get the maximum amount of pharmaceuticals changing hands.
You inevitably...
And selling off the drugs that have expired and that they can't use in the U.S.
leave it to people to say, would I rather have a cheap hand pump that nobody cares about? Oh, would I like a lot of expensive stuff and a new hospital wing and all these other things? The truth is we almost inevitably end up doing stuff that's less effective. Not because people are bad, but because they have lots of other incentives apart from doing the best things first. And so that's why I think by making this book and by forcing everyone to sort of confront the fact that there are some incredibly effective things we can do, it becomes a little harder to not do that first.
Yeah, and this reminds me of P.J. O'Rourke. I forget which book it was. I think it was A Parliament of Horrors. And he was talking to some bureaucrat with a 47-word title because, you're the head and you're the associate head and you're the assistant associate head and so forth. And he talked about how many childhood diarrhea deaths could be prevented with rehydration salts. Just boil the water, put the salt in, give it to the baby. Costs pennies, but nobody wants to do it because it's not glamorous. And P.J. O'Rourke, being both compassionate and snarky, said nobody's wearing, nobody has a brown ribbon campaign. Diarrhea, it can be contained. But the question now is, what do we as individuals do? I mean, I don't have Bill Gates' money to donate to the WHO to get them to make my priorities, their priorities. I think we can start by defunding the WHO, at least take our tax money out of it since Bill Gates is in control.